Welcome to the training webinar for application reviewers for the Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement Program. The Fulbright Teaching Excellence and Achievement, Fulbright T, program is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State with funding provided by the U.S. government and administered by IREX. For those of you who have served as reviewers for the U.S. Department of State's teacher exchange programs in the past, welcome back. And for those of you who have not, we are happy to introduce you to the Fulbright T program and review cycle. Whether new or returning, there are some new components of the selection process and new eligibility requirements that are important to know. And we will talk through those during our session today. We want to make sure everyone has the tools and understanding necessary to complete the work of a reviewer, including looking at some screenshots of the online application system. You all come from unique backgrounds in global education and will review the candidates through your own personal lens. We wanted to walk you through the criteria for selection in order to promote consistency across the scoring process. The webinar objectives are provide an overview of the Fulbright T program's objective and activities, communicate expectations and responsibilities of external review committee members, and describe the profile of an ideal candidate for the Fulbright Teacher Exchange programs and articulate the eligibility requirements and criteria for nomination. The Fulbright T program is a 6-week professional development experience that provides academic seminars focusing on new teaching methodologies, content-based instruction, project-based learning, infusing thematic topics into curriculum, lesson planning, and instructional technology training for teachers. The program will also include a practicum of at least 40 hours with a U.S. partner teacher of a similar teaching discipline in a U.S. secondary school near the host university to actively engage participants in the U.S. classroom environment. Cultural enrichment, mentoring, and support will be provided to participants throughout the program. Participating teachers not only collaborate with professionals from U.S. education communities, but with teachers from across the globe as well. Fulbright T teachers will come from 58 countries for the 2021 program. Fulbright T is a program of the U.S. Department of State's Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs, ECA. What are the intended goals of the program? Fulbright T participants promote mutual understanding between teachers, their schools, and communities in the United States and abroad by building teachers' and students' global competence and by sharing educational best practices internationally. The program provides professional development to enhance educators' expertise in their disciplines and to furnish them with a deeper understanding of best practices in education. Fulbright T contributes to improving education in participating countries by preparing participants to serve as educational leaders. As leaders in education, they will be equipped to apply and share their experiences and skills gained from their program with their colleagues and the students upon returning home. The candidates who you will review were nominated by U.S. embassies and Fulbright commissions as part of a wider application process. Candidates initially submitted applications to the U.S. embassies, Fulbright commissions, ministries of education, and/or other international partners in their countries. The applications were then reviewed by those partners, and certain applicants were selected for interviews. International partners interviewed the applicants, and through consideration of the application and interview, a small number of candidates were nominated to continue to the next round of the application process. U.S. embassies, Fulbright commissions, ministries of education, and/or other international partners will submit a list of top nominated candidates to IREX in June or July, dependent on the context and current events in each country. Nominated candidates are screened by ECA and IREX for eligibility. Those that are found to be eligible will be assigned to external review committee members for additional application review and scoring. IREX, in coordination with ECA, will then submit top candidates to the Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board for final approval and selection of program participants. Since you are helping us to determine who is best suited for the program, it is important to start with the basics, program eligibility. Please note that secondary level teachers include both middle and high school teachers serving students between approximately 12 and 18 years of age. Teachers responsible for teaching additional grade levels must teach middle or high school students more than 50% of their work time in order to be eligible for the program. Eligible applicants must meet the following requirements: be current secondary school level full-time teachers of English, English as a foreign language, math, science, or social studies, including special education teachers in those subjects at institutions serving primarily a local population. Have earned a bachelor's degree or equivalent. Have completed at least 5 years of full-time teaching by the start of the program. Reside in the country of citizenship at the time of application and of program participation. Earn a minimum score of 450 on the paper-based TOEFL or an equivalent English language examination. And demonstrate a commitment to continue teaching after the completion of the program. Applicants have been pre-screened by IREX staff and determined eligible for review. If you have any questions about an applicant's eligibility, please be sure to note this. As part of the application, candidates were required to submit documents to support the eligibility for the program: bachelor transcripts, CV/resume, a leave approval form from their districts, and other they feel may support their application. Some of these application materials may still be in the process of submission if they were granted an extension. Please note that IREX is tracking and collecting these documents. Ideal candidates for the program exude the following characteristics: teacher leader, they can be a catalyst and make an impact; commitment to professional growth and development; demonstrated commitment to K-12 education field; vision for global education and potential to be a global educator; career educator; openness, willingness, and flexibility for cultural exchange; innovation; commitment to working with underserved students. By providing Fulbright T participants with the opportunity to share their expertise with teachers and educators in the U.S., the Fulbright T program provides teachers with exposure and connection to a global network of stakeholders and thought leaders in education to collaborate on best educational practices, leverage their professional experience for global impact, especially in the most under-resourced schools and student populations. Fulbright T participants can contribute to building capacity in educational institutions globally. In addition to this training webinar, each reviewer will receive a scoring rubric and guidance to support the understanding of the scoring criteria reviewers will use to evaluate applicants for participation in the Fulbright T program. As a reviewer, you are helping to identify the nominated educators who are best suited for the program. Each nominee will be scored by 2 reviewers on the committee. Please note that each application has already been nominated by a U.S. Embassy, a Fulbright Commission, or Ministry of Education. IREX will compile scores and reviewer feedback, and in coordination with ECA, prepare candidates for nomination. IREX, in coordination with ECA, will send final nominations to the Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board, FFSB, for final selection. Application reviewer expectations. Each reviewer on the committee will read and evaluate applications in the IREX online application system, score each application and provide a recommendation according to the rubric in the online application score form, provide essential written feedback to explain scoring decisions, review applications only in the online application system. Applications should not be downloaded onto flash drives or personal devices. You will be able to log into the IREX online application using the account information we will send to you after this webinar. This is a 3-week reading period, but please make sure to budget your time to read the applications. The team at IREX will send regular reminders about reading and the deadline for submission. The applications may also be submitted to you in waves for review, depending on the submission of the nominations from U.S. embassies and Fulbright commissions. Your final number of assigned applications will depend on the total number of submitted applications. We appreciate your flexibility in the process. Make a plan to read the applications at a pace that will ensure the most consistency. We have provided the rubric as a tool for consistency within your own scoring, as well as parity across the scores of different members of the committee. Your written feedback is extremely important. The open-ended comment field in the online score form is extremely helpful during the nomination process. For privacy purposes, reviewers should review applications in the online application system only. Applications should not be downloaded onto flash drives or personal devices. The final number of assigned applications will depend on the total number of submitted applications. Now that we have discussed the basics of the Fulbright T program and the role of the reviewer in the nomination process, let's turn our attention to the online application system, which is where all applications and your scores and comments will be housed. Each reviewer will be provided with multiple scoring tools to aid in the application review process. We will walk through each of these scoring tools with you. If you have questions about a particular criterion, please feel free to email fulbrightreaders@irex.org. As we go over these criteria from the rubric and score form, please note that we will be giving suggestions for where in the application you may find evidence of an applicant's qualifications towards a particular criterion. We anticipate that you will find other evidence throughout the application and supplemental materials, but we wanted to recommend questions that may be most relevant to each criterion. Please note that a copy of the U.S. Embassy and Fulbright Commission interview score form for each nominated applicant will be available with each applicant's file in the online application system. These forms can be used to provide background context on a candidate's school, language abilities, and/or additional information that is not included in the candidate's actual application. The external reviewer does not have to agree with the score on the form, but can use the information as additional context on the candidate from the interviews. IREX does ask, though, that you consider this information strongly in your review of candidates. The U.S. Embassy and Fulbright Commission ranked list of nominations will be sent to external reviewers via email for each country, whose applications they are reviewing. These spreadsheets will be emailed with the reviewer assignments. Please note once again that this information is used for additional context and consideration only, and external reviewers should make their own assessment of each applicant based on their own review of all application materials. But this additional information should be considered in your review. This is a sample reviewer score form in the online application system. The Fulbright T score form may vary slightly. When we zoom in a bit more closely, you can see that each criterion is shown with an appropriate scale of points to award for that criterion. This corresponds to our other scoring tool, the rubric. The online score form is where you will actually submit your scores, comments, and recommendations for each applicant. The second scoring tool is the offline applicant scoring rubric. You will receive a PDF of the rubric for your use. A rubric will also be available in the online application system. You will use the applicant scoring rubric to inform your scores that you will input in the online applicant score form. Remember, it is required that you submit an online score form for each application that you review. Candidates should be considered based on the following 5 factors: demonstrated commitment to primary and secondary education, demonstrated leadership and collaboration potential, potential for developing long-term linkages between U.S. and home country schools, preparedness for an intensive U.S.-based professional development program, and English language proficiency. Application essays will largely provide evidence of an applicant's qualifications towards a particular criterion. However, we anticipate that you will find other evidence throughout the application and supplemental materials. The first category is demonstrated commitment to teaching at the secondary level. Does the applicant appear motivated to improve effectiveness and quality in the classroom or school community? Does the application show a history of and willingness to explore new education methods and a strong commitment to motivating students as evidenced through frequent use of original and varied student engagement strategies in the classroom or school community? To the extent you can glean from responses, what is the applicant's level of commitment to the field of education? Has their previous leadership and professional development experience contributed to their education community? This is a snapshot from the scoring rubric and the corresponding characteristics of applications that may receive a 3, 2, 1, etc. Does the applicant demonstrate confidence in leading and have past experience leading projects and collaborating with peers and administration? Does the applicant demonstrate teamwork or collaborative abilities and the ability to work independently? Does the applicant's experience demonstrate a pattern of growth, of having continued their professional learning, applying it to their practice, and using it to train/support others? Do the application responses and professional references show the applicant's experience and qualification for the Fulbright T program? This is a snapshot from the scoring rubric and the corresponding characteristics of the applications that may receive a 3, 2, 1, etc. Does the application show that the applicant has experience collaborating with partners despite challenging or long-distance circumstances? Does the applicant identify project ideas that she would like to develop between international partners and homeschool? This is a snapshot from the scoring rubric and the corresponding characteristics of applications that may receive a 3, 2, 1, etc. Has the applicant shown evidence of strong ability to overcome challenges personally or professionally? Has the applicant described specific, culturally sensitive strategies for communication and collaboration and demonstrated flexibility and willingness to work with and learn from others? Has the applicant displayed openness to perspectives that differ from their own? Does the applicant show evidence of emotional maturity and flexibility? This is a snapshot from the scoring rubric and the corresponding characteristics of applications that may receive a 3, 2, 1, etc. Potential to reach under-resourced schools and communities. Please consider whether there is evidence that the candidate will work with and apply what they learn on the program to benefit students in under-resourced schools and communities. Does the applicant appear overqualified for the program? Please consider whether extensive previous professional development and/or schooling in the topic areas related to the Fulbright T program may make the candidate overqualified for the program. In some cases, candidates with less experience in the program topic areas may benefit more from the program than those who have already had years of schoolings or trainings. For candidates with previous professional development abroad, Fulbright or other, please consider whether the candidate has already had multiple professional development opportunities, schooling opportunities, and/or abroad opportunities. Although candidates should demonstrate leadership, sometimes candidates who have limited opportunity for professional development may be a better fit for the program. If the candidate has had previous professional development abroad, is there evidence in their applications that they have applied what they learned on previous international professional development programs with exceptional thought, creativity, and commitment? Does the applicant indicate that they have previously received a Fulbright award? U.S. Embassy and Fulbright Commission rankings order. Please note that, as mentioned above, all candidate applications have been reviewed and nominated by the U.S. Embassy and/or Fulbright Commission in their country. Candidates have undergone interviews with the U.S. Embassy and/or Fulbright Commission. Based on their assessment of the candidates through application review and interviews, as well as consideration of the local educational context and any regional educational priorities, the U.S. embassies and/or Fulbright commissions ranked their list of nominated candidates. For this reason, our nomination ranking system will be based on what degree nominations are to be recommended. The ranked list has been included in the reviewer materials. As a reviewer, the final score of each application can be broken into one of 3 categories: highly recommended, R+, recommended, R, and recommended with reservations, R-. Please refer to the applicant score form for a full breakdown of these categories. In making your assessments of the recommendation levels for each nominee, please consider the U.S. Embassy or Fulbright Commission rankings, as well as the U.S. Embassy or Fulbright Commission interviewer comments, accessible in the candidate application PDFs, when reviewing and scoring the candidates. If your assessment of the candidates differ from the ranking order indicated by the U.S. Embassy and/or Fulbright Commission, please indicate that in the reviewer comments of the candidates. Preference will be given to applicants who are members of or who work with students from underserved communities or traditionally underrepresented groups, including but not limited to women, racial, ethnic and religious minorities, people with disabilities, and the LGBT+ community. The Fulbright T program promotes diversity in the classroom and in learning. Fulbright T supports inclusion and strongly encourages teachers with disabilities to apply. ECA and IREX do not discriminate against applicants because of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, age, national origin, disability, or any other protected characteristic as established by U.S. law. Shown here is a sample online score form. Your actual online score form will coincide with the rubric provided. Scale of 1 to 3 for each category, 1 being a low score and 3 being high. Please also include a short explanation of why you scored the applicant this way and your recommendation choice. Applicants will be scored on a scale of 0 to 12, 12 being the highest possible score that can be awarded. The selection committee will consider applications as outlined below. Applicant score range. Exemplary or excellent candidates, 10 through 12. Highly qualified candidates, 9 through 10. Adequate candidate, 7 through 8. Unlikely to be considered for the fellowship, 6 or below. In addition to the numerical score, reviewers are asked to make a recommendation of each applicant as highly recommended, recommended, and recommended with reservations. A highly recommended would be an applicant considered exemplary or excellent for the Fulbright T program. A recommended applicant would be an applicant considered ideal for Fulbright T without reservation or pause. A recommended with reservations would be an applicant who is considered for the program, but who reviewers may be unsure will benefit or make use of the experience as intended. There are 4 categories scored out of 3 points. Thus, a 10 and above is an ideal candidate for the Fulbright T program. Those scored with 10 or above would receive an R+ according to the scoring framework. A candidate receiving 2s may also be highly qualified and recommended for participation in Fulbright T. With consideration added for those working in under-resourced areas and/or no prior PD experience abroad, the candidate with all 2s and 3s would also likely receive an R or R+. A recommend would be an applicant considered ideal for Fulbright T without reservation or pause. Candidates who receive 2s in any category may also indicate that an application reviewer recommends the candidate less highly or has some reservations about the applicant's candidacy for the program. A combination of mostly 2s or below, or with demonstration of need and/or little prior experience, may qualify for a recommend with reservations. Perhaps the application reviewer sees potential in the applicant, but there are concerns about certain pieces of the application. A recommended with reservations is an applicant who would be considered for the program, but who reviewers may want to flag concerns about. Next steps, application reviewer assignments. Each reviewer will be given a unique username and login for the IREX Online Application System, OAS. When you log in, you will see only the applications assigned to you. You will also receive a list of your assignments at the beginning of the scoring period. Please confirm that no conflicts of interest exist for your assigned applications. Each reader will be given a spreadsheet with the names, home states, schools, rural/urban/suburban category of the applicants whose materials they have been assigned to read. These details are general indicators to inform your review and which may be considered to evaluate diversity in the applicant pool. Upon receipt of your application assignments, please confirm that your list includes no conflict of interest. If you know the applicant personally or professionally, this may constitute a conflict of interest. Should you have professional connection, past or present, please notify IREX as early as possible so that IREX may reassign the application appropriately. Please review this summary spreadsheet before beginning the scoring process to confirm that there are no conflicts of interest with any applicant that you may know. If any conflicts do exist, IREX will adjust the reading assignments as necessary. IREX will send a full online application system guide for you with screenshots of the step-by-step process for accessing and scoring your assigned applications. However, the next few slides will provide a brief overview. This is what the login screen for OAS looks like. This is a screen you will see upon logging in, which displays your assigned applications for review. The app icon on the right generates a PDF of the applicant's responses and links to the institutional recommendation forms and any other supplemental documents, such as TOEFL scores. The ISF icon generates a PDF of the interview score sheet that the U.S. embassies and Fulbright commissions completed for each candidate during the candidate interviews. Please note that ISF will only appear on the screen once U.S. embassies and Fulbright commissions have uploaded the form onto the system. Most candidates should have this form, but some may not right away. These icons will show up on the right-hand side, right next to the app and score links. The score icon generates a score sheet for you to complete about each candidate. Please note that you must fill out all the components of the score form in order for the score itself to register in the OAS. Once it registers, the columns to the right of the summary screen will show your recommendation for program participation and the score that you have given to this applicant. You will receive all full instruction sheets for OAS in an email from IREX following the webinar. The Fulbright T application has 14 different components. Each section, particularly the essay sections, will provide relevant information for you to get a holistic idea of the candidate. Candidates are required to submit an institutional support and reference form as part of their application. This form will include a letter from their supervisor or school director and may provide additional information about the candidate's school, the candidate's role in the school, and or additional ways that the candidate is seen as a teacher leader to the school. It is a good document to reference in addition to reviewing the other elements of the application. Note that in some cases, due to the current environment, some candidates have not yet been able to submit this document. In addition to the application, the interview score forms have been uploaded by U.S. embassies and Fulbright commissions for each nominated candidate will provide additional information about the candidates. This information could include further information about the candidate's school context, further information on their interest in the program, additional activities they pursue outside of their regular role at the school, and other information. IREX will also email you the ranked nomination list from each U.S. Embassy and Fulbright Commission whose country application you are reviewing. The score form and ranking list are for your reference only. As an external reviewer, you do not have to agree with the ranked list or the interview score forms. We are now going to review all the information that you have received from IREX and will receive after this webinar. Readers have received the following items via email: Reader Agreement, ACH Information Form. Please provide this form ASAP. You should have received the following documents via email: Fulbright T External Reviewer Guidance. This provides a detailed overview of the application review process. The Applicant Scoring Rubric. This provides the scoring criteria for Fulbright T applications. It will be available on the online application system. We will send a PDF copy of the form so you can familiarize yourself with the scoring criteria before you begin your reviews. The OAS Access Instructions. This will detail your OAS login information and also how to access your assigned applications and the evaluation form. The Application Assignments. You will receive your application assignments via email. We ask that you make sure that the names we send you in this document align with the applications assigned to you on the online application system. Next steps, expectations. Before evaluating applications, complete the Fulbright T training webinar. Review all Fulbright T application reviewer materials. While evaluating applications, read all assigned Fulbright T applications by the date indicated by IREX. Complete a score form for each assigned application via the online application system, OAS, by the deadline indicated by IREX. Throughout the process, send questions to Fulbright readers at irex.org. Thank you for your time.